Hello, welcome to Out Motorsports, the channel for cars as you are. My name is Tyler, and we are here on Angeles Crest Highway in Los Angeles, California for our West Coast Road Rally, and I am in the Volvo V90 Cross Country B6 all-wheel drive. May not be the canyon carver that you might expect us to have out here, but it's been a great car so far. So let's check out the details and then go for a cruise up in the canyons. So first things first, who doesn't love a quintessential Volvo wagon? This is very long and taller than the regular V90, which we don't get in the States. This is 2.5 inches taller than the regular V90, and it's actually the same length as their XC90 SUV. On top of that added ride height, the cross-country trim gives you this extra body cladding, as you can see in the back, and this particular one is on a really gorgeous set of 21-inch wheels. This V90 has a very long and tall hood for a relatively small displacement 4-cylinder engine. It's a 2-liter turbo and electrically supercharged, which means it doesn't draw any power from the engine like a regular supercharger. It makes 295 horsepower, 310 foot-pounds of torque, and seriously, I had to get on my tippy toes to close this hood. Moving on to the interior of the V90 Cross Country, this is, in my opinion, the best part of this entire car, and it probably should be considering its target market. It has these beautiful brown leather seats. They are so comfortable and they feel of such quality. They are heated, cooled, and massaged, and we have spent a long time in this car because it takes an hour to go anywhere in LA, and I've never once been uncomfortable or felt achy, and my favorite part is that Swedish flag, which they put in, I think, all of their cars. The panoramic sunroof makes the entire thing feel light and airy. Even on the door panel, you can see the quality of the stitching and the aluminum trim, as well as the aluminum speaker cover for the Bowers & Wilkins sound system. There is not a creak or rattle in here. Alright, so, what is it? What is this? What road is this? Alright, so, setting off in the Volvo on some sort of twisty LA road that we don't know the name of, chasing Jake in his Maserati up in the front, and first things first, fully aware that this is not the V90 Cross Country's strong suit. We were originally supposed to have a Polestar, which we will get at some point, but we're up here dancing around the canyons with what is a very large vehicle, and I have to say, I'm actually really impressed for the size of this. So like I said, we're chasing Jake in the Maserati. We're behind a G20 BMW right now. And obviously we're not doing anything crazy on the street in the canyons, but it's a little bit more work for me to keep up with these people, and you have to be mindful of its mass. But that mass and wheelbase also gives you some benefits. So long wheelbase means it is more stable through corners, more stable over bumps, and that's definitely a thing here. It might not be a sports car, and it might be kind of cliche to say that it's confidence inspiring, but it is. And part of that's down to the dampers, part of that's down to the wheelbase. So it's doing itself some favors in that way. But now that we're starting to go downhill, this is the first time I've had to lean on the brakes a little bit, so we'll see how that goes. But driving characteristics in general. Steering feel, right off the bat, it has 2 steering modes. I haven't had it in anything but the stiffer steering mode all weekend, and I only just now realized that it had another steering mode. If you are used to any sort of new electric steering, the more stiff or heavy steering mode will feel normal to you. The light steering mode is very light and doesn't give you much feel. The heavier mode really is just heavier. The feel isn't all there. It has done one kind of weird thing where, like, after I turn in, like right here, you give it like a quarter of a turn in, and you feel it weight up in a natural way, but halfway through the corner, sometimes it throws you more steering weight. Like, it unloads and then loads back up in a place that doesn't feel natural. And I don't know if that has to do with the size of the wheels on this. It almost feels as if the electric steering becomes overwhelmed for a second, and then it's like, oh, okay, we're back. So that's the only weird thing I've noticed with the steering. Other than that, it's natural enough to hustle through these canyons, keeping up with cars that it probably shouldn't be keeping up with. As far as how the chassis and suspension feels, like I already said, the wheelbase in this is really doing it a lot of favors, but it is well damped. It does have air suspension, but it doesn't seem to have any way for us to change that air suspension mode. Like I said, it's very passenger oriented, it's very quintessential Volvo wagon. It's an old school Volvo wagon in that there should be 3 people in the back of this right now. We should have like our luggage in the back, like getting ready to go up to our cabin in the mountains or something. Like it's made for that, and it's not made for canyon carving. But it is good at being comfortable and driving around town. We have driven this like all over Los Angeles this weekend, and it takes you an hour to get anywhere here. And I feel like we would be tired and fatigued way more than we have been, because we have massaging seats, heated steering wheels, like all of the nice luxurious things that you need when you're stuck in traffic, and possibly the best sound system I think I have ever heard in a car so far. So this car's stickers at this particular one has a $72,000 sticker price, and they start at like low 60s, low to mid 60s. The most expensive option on this car is the $3,200 Bowers & Wilkins sound system, and get it. If you're considering this car or any sort of Volvo with this Bowers & Wilkins sound system, for what these cars are, as far as a nice place to sit in, a nice place to be in traffic, that sound system makes it. It's crazy that when you get in a car with a really good sound system and you've heard a song like a million times before, and then you hear it in something that sounds really good, it sounds like you're hearing it for the first time. That's been the case this entire weekend in this car. It's so impressive. It's very clear that it's a powerful system no matter how high or low you have the volume. So even though it's clearly not supposed to be the sportiest thing, and that is not this car's intentions, it does have a secret manual mode on the shift knob. It has a crystal shift knob, and unlike some other cars where you kind of either push it to the left or right and then you have a manual mode or paddle shifters, this doesn't have any paddle shifters. And the manual mode is you pull further back, and then you have to actually go like move the shift knob to the left or right to shift up. So move it to the left, you shift down, move it to the right, it shifts up. Anybody who buys this car is probably not going to put this in manual mode, and I'm kind of even keeping it in the same gear this entire trip up in these canyons. But it does the job, and it shifts quickly enough in manual mode. He's going to do some sound. Tunnel run with a Maserati. So after a day up in the twisties with 60 or so of our closest friends, I can honestly say I came away really impressed with this Volvo V90 cross country. Like I have been saying this whole time, it may not be a canyon carver, but as far as a amazing road trip partner, a comfortable, classy, and elegantly styled wagon to tackle the LA traffic and all of the bad things about LA. It's beautiful out here, but there also are quite a few things that really are not so enjoyable, and that traffic and the deepest parts of the city is one, and this Volvo made it so much more bearable, so much more comfortable, and I really, really enjoyed my time in this car. So if you want to join us on the next rally, we have more in the works out here out west, but we also have a ton on the East Coast, as well as some track cross events on the track. So if you want to be a part of that, if you want to come join us, please check us out, outmotorsports.com. We have a Discord and a membership program that gives you access to all of these things and keeps you up to date on when we have our next event. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.